Hello, everyone. Good morning. It's really amazing to see such a full house today, which probably means one of these things. Who here is building AI? And who here is trying to understand AI? Okay. And who here is starting to slightly panicking about AI? For those that doesn't know me, my name is Joana Cerejo, and for the last 10 years, I have been designing AI-driven service, and I keep seeing the same pattern over and over again. AI is getting undoubtedly more faster, more efficient, more powerful, and yet, if we look to the market, adoption is still one of the greatest, long-term adoption is one of the greatest challenges we face today. So I'm here to question exactly that. Why such amazing and powerful technology, it keeps failing the people they are designed for? And I don't know about you, but for me, the last months have been overwhelming. Every single day, there's something new happening about AI. New tools, new models, AI agents, AI tools. Every single day is really hard to keep up with everything. And our work doesn't stop. We still have to ship things at the end of the day, make these decisions. And this creates a very particular kind of pressure, the pressure to move fast. And when we don't stop to think about what we are trying to do, this starts to create very particular kind of problems. Recently, I learned a Dutch expression that, I'm sorry, I will not try to say it, but it basically means when you are this overwhelming, you should go outside and try to catch up some wind, and so the wind take your worries away. And I thought, oh, that's nice. That's exactly the kind of philosophy I need right now to deal with so much going on with AI. But the problem is that instead of bringing me clarity, it feels more like this. The wind is eating us straight in the face. And when we are in the middle of this storm, what I see happening in teams is that we prioritize speed over usefulness, and this brings a lot of issues to the user experience. So, this is clearly not a technical problem we are living. It's a human problem. And there's already a lot of studies and reports supporting that the reason why AI fails when they hit the market, it's not because of the technology. We have really, really powerful models. We have the infrastructure. So the issue has to be capability. Why aren't we generating value to our users? And this gets even more extreme when we start looking to the Gen AI. A recent study from the MIT is saying that 95% of Gen AI pilots are failing to deliverable, measurable value. And the most recent example of that is OpenAI, Sora. The video AI-generated tool was estimated to cost $15 million per day without no clear path for profitability. So again, the issue is not technology. We need to create the experience more human. And let me give you a more everyday example. Nest. Nest can learn your data over a year. Your preference, your habits, your schedules, perfectly. It learns what you want. But now imagine this situation. You have a newborn. Your life changed overnight. Your schedules, your priorities. But Nest will, for example, keep prioritizing energy efficiency because it was trained with 1 year of data. These AIs are not designed for be content aware in real time. So next is the perfect example that in theory, practice is the same as theory, but not in practice. Like these fathers looking to their child sleep charge. Algorithms, they are designed for one thing, but most of the times real life doesn't follow the data script. So we need to be aware of this and start designing with a different approach. So this brings us to the core issues. There's an excessive focus on forecasting, which means using data from the present and the past to project the future. But hold on, I'm not questioning the value of data. The only thing I want all of you to be clear is to recognize the fundamental limitation of data in comprehending human behavior and psychology. So, most of the times AI fail not because of the model and the data, but because it misses three essential human elements. And the first one is user intent. When the companies and products, they focus too much on the data and not so much on what the user is trying to achieve, we end up here in this gap intent. And a good example is Amazon Prime. Amazon has your entire purchase history, your views. If you have an Alexa, they have access to all your conversation data. So if there's a company that knows all about you, is Amazon, and probably by this time even your blood type. So, but when you open Amazon Prime, you get overwhelmed. They are not there to help you choose what you want to see next. Amazon Prime has the comprehension of what you see because of the historical data, but never why you saw it. It is not built to understand if your context, your intention. Are you alone or with a kid or your partner? Have you 20 minutes or 3 hours to spend on the platform? So this platform is completely blind to your intention. And worse, they even prioritize profitability instead of user experience. Because right now, if you open Amazon Prime, you see a maze of content that belongs to the platform, to rent or to buy. So this illustrates that more data doesn't translate to a better user experience or even algorithm. The next element is foresight, meaning when companies prioritize forecasting the data to project the future, they start to do the things, at least I spend most time asking my stakeholders to not do. Yes, assumptions. And when those assumptions are wrong, the algorithms is just providing irrelevant or sometimes even dangerous suggestions to the users. And the perfect example to illustrate that is Waze. Waze is brilliant to give the fastest route you want. But again, imagine the context that we live our lives. Imagine that you are leaving a pediatric emergency at 3 a.m. with your baby at your backseat. You are tired, exhausted, you just want to get home. But Waze cheerfully suggests the route through a dangerous neighborhood because it's just 4 minutes shorter. Good. So did Waze statistically calculate the shorter route? Yes. But maybe it also calculate the shortest route for your last peaceful moments. So we need to think about experience that don't only focus on the data. We need to comprehend the human behavior, the user intent, and the user context where they operate. The last missing element is agency. When an AI makes a decision that is opaque and doesn't provide a way for us to understand the way they arrived to that decision, we are no longer on the driver's seat. We are at the passenger. And I'm sure no one here in this room will trust a driver that don't say where they are driving us. So this is the agency gap. And I think by now everyone here may have heard about this example before. Allegedly, Target sent coupons to a father with discounts for baby coupons. The father stormed to the store to complain why he was receiving that kind of coupons. Later, he called back to apologize because indeed his teenager daughter was pregnant. So the algorithm was statistically right, but the father was not statistically amused. This means that even services that are statistically correct, if we don't stop to think how the user expects to operate with the algorithm, they tend to break trust. So we have to design services with the necessary mechanisms for the user to output or at least comprehend what kind of data is being tracked by the system. So this leads to the classic put lipstick on the pig. What this means, what I see is most of the companies, because they don't want to miss this train about AI, they don't stop to rethink their broken systems. What they do is to use AI as this sophisticated makeup layer and then wonder, why am my users are not engaging with my system? I built such amazing Copilot. I put it right there. No one is using. Why? They forget that putting AI is not the solution when systems are fundamentally broken. And this leads us to the reflection that currently, what I see, forecasting is the backbone of most products and services. And this can create what I call the forecasting fallacy, because sometimes the problem is not the model is not broken. The problem is the lack of human comprehension behind the models. These methods work perfectly for B2B, but not so much for B2C, because humans are not spreadsheets or supply chain. We behave in ways that most models are not programmed to consider. So let's take a step back. 30 years ago, design thinking helped us told us to start with people. And this works back then because design problems were more or less static. You could do your user research, start developing your solution, go on vacation, come back on vacation, and those goals will still be the same. You could ship your solution with success. Now, a person on Tuesday has completely different needs and goals than on the weekend. So this is where foresight comes in. In my design process, I use foresight to imagine the possibilities. So design thinking, it's perfect to understand the present, where our users are coming from. Foresight gives us the tools to understand what might happen, what are the possibilities, what kind of futures we should be prepared for. And how do you take these to your daily work? With a method called backcasting. And the simplest way to explain what backcasting is like a service blueprint, but backwards. A simple way to understand is, for example, imagine that you want to plan your next vacation. With forecasting, the system will look to your 5 past holidays, see that you choose, for example, a beach destination, and recommend a beach next. With backcasting, is you telling the systems, no, enough beaches, I want to climb a mountain in Peru. And the system will prepare the steps needed for you to achieve that goal in the future. So, what I want to tell you is in every project you start, you should look to forecasting to understand where your users are coming from, because you need that data. But also try to implement backcasting, understand where your users are trying to go. And here, backcasting will help you. It will help you understand also which kind of internal and external factors may impact your product. So you can prepare your experience and algorithms to also consider those external things, like in ways that the same route at 3 a.m. in the morning means completely different at 3 p.m. So, even when you have the right direction, like we saw through the examples, those doesn't mean that you will be designing a successful AI, because they can still miss 3 human behavior elements. The first one is user agency. We need to design proper control to give transparency to our users. And then is personalization, recognizing that context today is non-linear. Our users' needs will shift very fast because our world is moving really, really fast. And third is timely interventions. It means also prepare our experience and algorithms to know when to act, and most importantly, when not to act. So instead of going through the theory of the previous 3, I have here an example that it's pure jackpot. He was able to fail in the 3 elements all at once. So I present you vSense. This was supposed to be the first headphones on your head with an AI conversation that could give you trainings in real time. Back then, this was amazing. They get $500,000 raised in Kickstarter. The tech press loved them. They were really a huge success. But they failed miserably, and it was not because the technology. The algorithm, still amazing. So if we look to behavior science frameworks, they help us understand why they failed so miserably, although the technology was really good. So the first one was on the personalization level. They failed to understand that people, when they enter in your service, they don't come, everyone doesn't come at the same level of motivation and engagement. For example, V gave the same experience to a couch potato trying to start jogging or a marathon runner. So there was no personalization. And this violates this behavior science framework. And then it was on the user agency. Here, the Fox model, they teach us that for behavior to happen, 3 things have to occur at the same time: agency, motivation, ability, and the prompt. If one of these things fails, the probability your AI service will fail, it will be high. And the third one is timely interventions. They violate this nudge theory because they were sending notifications to users when it was running outside or if the user was injured. So the AI was not prepared to deal with the real-time context of the user. So, to sum up this presentation today, 4 things I want you to take back on Monday. First one, we need to design for intent, not just the interactions. We can't only focus on the ability to make technology possible, because you can have the best algorithm and the best design user interface in the world, but if you don't comprehend the user behavior, the probability of your system to fail will be high. And second, pair forecasting with foresight. If we don't do that, we create systems that are perfect for today, but completely obsolete for tomorrow. And if we just focus on foresight, we start imagining features that we can't build them because we don't have the data to support them. And third, calibrate trust through transparency. We need to be more mindful how we give control and how the AI is making decisions on behalf of the user. We need to build more transparent systems for our users. And last, start also measuring what matters to human. Algorithm accuracy, it's great, but we saw through the examples, you can have a really good AI, but in the end, if you don't measure trust, agency, fairness, you may don't have a business at the end of the month. At least try to go for that long-term adoption. This was my talk. If you are interested in learning more about user agency, foresight, backcasting, all of that is on my book. I have just a few copies with me today, but if you are interested, find me after the session. And please go design something that resonates with people, because that's what we are missing today. Thank you.